I didn't really care for the Moon Spinners. Now, on the one hand, I have to acknowledge that it's not necessarily my kind of film anyway, so I wasn't ever really going to love it completely. But having said that, on the other hand, there are plenty of films that don't seem like they'll be my kind of film, and then I end up absolutely adoring them. So I need to acknowledge that I didn't like it, but the odds were against me liking it anyway. But at the same time, had it been amazing, I probably would have found it at least okay. This is a Disney film from 1964 directed by James Nielsen and stars Hayley Mills as Nikky Ferris. And Nikky and her aunt are in Crete and they're staying in a hotel, and the hotel seems a little bit suspicious. To begin with, they won't let them stay there, but eventually they cave and allow them to have some rooms there. And then mysterious things start to happen, and mysterious things surrounding theft of valuables. And I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to give away who's playing what role and who are the suspects and things, because initially it's not necessarily obvious. But I have to say, I feel like the narrative developed well. Much to its credit, it got to the point straight away. It wasted no time with setting up, and the development of the narrative seemed to have a pretty consistent, steady pace to it, to the point where everything went from A to B to C at a rate that I came to expect with the film, and things obviously increased in intensity as things got more dangerous for the characters. It seems to work well. But as I said, I just didn't really care for the narrative. I didn't care for who was responsible, which characters were being deceptive, or which characters we thought we could trust and we couldn't, vice versa, which characters seemed suspicious but weren't. But I just wasn't that bothered. I wasn't emotionally invested in it. I genuinely didn't care if anybody was caught. But as I said, I think that's a me problem rather than a film problem, because it's not my kind of film. But I don't know, it begs the question, should a good film be able to appeal to everybody if it's really good? There are plenty of films that I don't think I would like but actually really thoroughly enjoyed. So it could have worked. It could have worked for me, but it didn't. But looking at it from a technical perspective, from a writing perspective, it seems to work fine. The characters are quite interesting, not overly fascinating, and I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't care for it too much, because I wasn't that bothered about any of the characters. Hayley Mills gives a great performance, of course, as she always does. But Nikky as a character is, again, not the most interesting individual. I wasn't, in fact, out of all of the Hayley Mills films I've seen to this point with Disney, Nikky is by far the least interesting. So for me, there's just nothing in this film that kept me engaged. Not the characters, nor the narrative. It's well shot enough, the music's quite suspenseful, the narrative seems to work quite well, but it's not for me. If it sounds like your thing, I'd say give it a watch. If you're a fan of Hayley Mills but haven't seen it, check it out. It's on Disney Plus. But it's not going to be making any top lists for me anytime soon.